everyone. I, Nilesh Kumar Sen, working as an assistant professor, computer science engineering, CIML department of ABES Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today in this presentation, I'm going to describe about keys, what are keys, how they are used in database. Before getting started, one need to understand what is data. It is made up of small facts and information without any context, means it does not have any meaning. Just say any name, date of birth, contact number, any of them. Information. If one introduces context with data, then it becomes information. What is database? It is an organized collection of related information. And DBMS. DBMS, it is a software system which is designed to manage and organize data in a structured manner. It allows user to create, modify, and query a database, as well as manage the security and access control for the database. What are keys and its importance? So before knowing about keys, one need to understand attribute. A piece of data that describes an entity, one can say columns such as name, age, address, etc. What is tuple? A particular row or any particular record which contain information of all the entities or attributes. Key, it is a minimum or set of attributes, or one can say columns, that uniquely identifies row or tuple. Type of keys which are used in DBMS. There are total 8 different keys which are used in our DBMS. Super key, primary key, candidate key, alternate key, foreign key, compound key, composite key, and surrogate key. So what is super key? It is the collection of columns that contain value that uniquely identify each row in a table. It is also known as command or window key. It is a maximal closure actually. What does that maximal closure mean? Means in a particular relation or a table, a single entity is not at all capable enough to produce a particular record or a tuple. So what one need to have is to combine more than one attributes in order to derive all the information that a record or a relation contains. So that is what the maximal closure. It is used by Linux or BSD operating systems. In this very example, here you can see that employee SSN number and employee number and name, if we collectively call them, then this very becomes a super key. Primary key. It is the column that contains values that uniquely identifies each row in a relation. It cannot contain duplicate values and it cannot be null also. It is a minimal closure, means a single entity can derive all the information. In this very example, student ID is a primary key. Candidate key. It is a set of one or more columns that can uniquely identify a row within a relation. In a particular relation, it may be one or multiples. Primary key is also a candidate key. It depends purely on database administrator. In this very relation, student ID, roll number, and email are considered as a candidate key. Secondary key, it is also known as alternate key, which can be used in addition to the primary key to locate specific tuple or record. Student ID is the primary key, roll number, email becomes the alternative key. Means instead of student ID, one can also use primary key or roll number or email. Foreign key. It is a column or group of columns in a relational database table that provides a link between data in two different tables. Most often, primary key of a table is referred as a foreign key for secondary table. In the given example, department code in a first table working as a primary key, and that very entity is working as a foreign key for the teachers table. Compound key. It has two or more attributes that allows you to uniquely recognize a specific record. Here you can see that order number alone or a product ID alone is not at all capable enough to derive all the information because both the entities are duplicates in nature. That's why one needs to find out a particular tuple, then he has to collectively use order number and product ID as a key. Composite key. Combination of multiple columns that are used to identify all the rows uniquely. But there's a slight difference in between compound key and composite key, that any part of the compound key can be a foreign key. Part of the compound key can be a foreign key, but the composite key may or may not be a part of the foreign key. Surrogate key. It is a unique key for an entity in the client's business or for an object in the database. It is up to the database administrator to use surrogate or helping key. Where we use surrogate key? When we have to join two different tables and based on the operation performed, we are not able to find any particular uh, candidate key or primary key or alternate key. In order to uniquely identify a tuple, one need to add, for example, serial number. On the basis of serial number, we can uniquely identify a particular tuple. So that is what the surrogate key or helping key. Here in this very example, there is no such key by which we can uniquely identify a tuple. So in order to identify or in order to calculate, one needs to add what? A serial number or some sort of any particular key which fulfills all the criteria of the primary key. Here in this example, a pictorial representation of keys. Candidate key can be employee ID, can be employee license, can be employee passport, or collection of any order. If suppose we choose employee ID as a primary key, which is capable enough to derive all the information, then the employee license and employee passport becomes alternate key. And combination of these two are also known as unique key. And department ID of the table 2 is working as a primary key. And that is the same key which is used again in an employee table as a foreign key. That is all about the fundamentals of keys which are used in the database management system. Here are some references which I generally prefer.